Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of the 5-part mini-series I'm going to be putting out, both on my YouTube and onto my blog page, whereby I'm going to be talking about 5 challenges that I faced whilst losing my hair and afterwards, and some of the things that I did to overcome them. So this second video is going to be all about going outside without your wig or a head covering for the first time and then thereafter. So for me, this was one of the main things that I wanted to do. It's one of the main goals that I wanted to reach in my hair loss journey. For me personally, it symbolised kind of having gone through that process of dealing with my hair loss, my changing appearance and everything that goes with that, and getting to the point whereby I'm finally comfortable enough in myself and with my situation to go outside without anything. And that to me was definitely a goal. And it took me over a year of wearing wigs before I finally felt ready to actually take that step. So the way I went about it was perhaps a little bit different to maybe the norm. But I do think that some of the things that I did and some of the tips I have may be able to help you. You know, your journey is your own and it's all about finding what works for you and how you want to go about it. You know, there are lots of different things you can do and try, but these are what ones worked for me. So for me, it was all about taking it one step at a time, quite literally. So what I decided to do was I was at work and I stopped wearing my wig. Basically, where I work, I'm out of the public eye, I'm quite behind the scenes. Nobody except staff really see me, and the team that I work with are genuinely so lovely and supportive, and they all knew about my hair loss and they were all very understanding, you know, because it got to the point whereby I was saying, you know, I don't really want to wear a wig anymore, they're quite uncomfortable, I wish I could go without. And they were all just so understanding and supportive that I actually just decided to stop wearing my wig at work. But I was still wearing my wig to work and then putting it on once I finished to walk home. Because for me, being at work without my wig, it was similar to being at home. It felt like a safe space. You know, the people I was around I felt comfortable with, I trusted. I knew that they weren't going to say anything to upset me, and even if they did, I knew them all well, and I knew that there would be no bad intention, whereby going outside without the wig, there's always that risk of, you know, seeing maybe a younger person that doesn't quite understand making a comment or getting looks, etc. It is really scary going out into public with people you don't know without your wig if you're not used to it. So I stopped wearing my wig at work, which I did think gave me probably a little bit more of a confidence boost than if I had just started trying to go without my wig outside. So I had maybe a little bit of a step up there, but yeah, that really helped me actually. So even if you're at work or if you're in an office, for example, you could try doing that as like a starting point, or if you're not comfortable doing so, there are quite a lot of other things you can try to build you up to that point. So although I'd been going without my wig at work, walking to work and from work, and also just being out in general, you know, going for a walk with my partner, going shopping, out to meals or travelling on public transport, that is for me where I wanted to get to the point of not wearing a wig. I mean, I enjoyed wearing wigs, I liked them, but I do find them somewhat uncomfortable, and for me it was just a goal. So the way I went about it is I actually focused on my walks to and from work, because this is what I was doing every day, and it was kind of what my main anxieties were around. You know, I was walking to and from work on my own, whereas if I was going shopping or travelling, I generally was with somebody, but this is a walk whereby I was on my own, and for a personal goal I really wanted to be without my wig basically. So what I started doing, and I focused on actually the walk home from work rather than the walk to work. So on my way home from work, what I decided to do is bit by bit take my wig off. So on the first day, where we live down the stairs to like a basement flat. At the top of the stairs, I had a quick look around, there was nobody there, and I took my wig off. And I stood there for a minute and then I went down the stairs. And that for me was the first time I'd been in public outside of work without my wig. And even doing that was scary. Even though I had looked around and there was nobody there, I still felt very exposed and quite anxious about it. So for the first few days, this is all I did. And then there was one time whereby there was a couple at the end of the road, and I was like, should I, shouldn't I? And I did it. I just took it off, put it in my bag. If they saw, I don't know what on earth they thought, but I just did it anyway, and that also helped me to, thinking, didn't they see it? They probably did. So yeah, I started very small. I started at the top of my stairs, basically. And once I was doing that comfortably, I wanted to wait until the point where I would able to take it off without having to look around or waiting a minute. I just wanted to be comfortable taking it off at the top of my stairs before I moved on to the next step. So then what I did was, where we live in our road, it's only about 4 or 5 houses into the road. It's quite a small road. So what I wanted to do next for the next stage was take my wig off at the end of the road and walk those few houses and then down my steps without it. So I did on the first day. I did feel quite nervous about it because the road, it's not necessarily a busy or a main road, but there are quite a lot of cars parked around it, cars coming through it. There's a couple of like B&Bs and things, so it's not a busy road, but there are people around. So yeah, I decided to do that. And again, I don't know if anybody saw that, what they thought, but it's just something that I needed to do in order to get my confidence up to eventually be going out without a wig. So yeah, I took it off at the end of the road, and I did this maybe for a week or two. I can't remember how long it was, but it was a little bit longer than what I'd done at the top of the stairs. And from this point, I started to gain a little bit of confidence with it. You know, once I'd taken it off and was walking home, it was in my bag, I wasn't just carrying it or anything. I would walk past people, and especially with neighbours and things, you kind of like, they kind of get to know you on your road as well. A lot of them are out walking dogs at certain times. So I just kind of like smile and get to know people, and I'd quite often see the same people over and over, and that also gave me a bit of confidence, just you know, knowing they hadn't said anything the first time, just a friendly smile, and smile back and walk on. And yeah, after that point, I started to get a little bit of more momentum, really. So then I started to go from the park, which was probably 2 roads away. And then as soon as I was comfortable doing that, I'd then extend it further and further until I got to the point where I was leaving work one day and I just thought, I don't want to put my wig on. It was really warm out, it was summer, and I just didn't want to wear it at all. So I thought, I'm just going to brave it, I'm just going to go without it. And I did. I pretty much had my head down the whole way. I didn't really look at anyone, make eye contact, put in some earphones, so if there were any comments, I didn't hear them. So I actually don't know what happened on that first walk. I don't know if people were looking. I'm sure they wouldn't, because I've been out plenty of times since without my wig. I've been outboard quite a lot since then, and you know, people generally don't stare or make comments or anything like that. So yeah, I don't actually know what happened. I just had head down and walked as quick as I can home. And it felt amazing. I felt really good to have finally gone out without my wig on my own in public for the first time. And that was kind of a turning point for me, really. The next morning, I didn't even take my wig to work with me. I left it at home because in the mornings, the walk to work is kind of quieter, and I just felt comfortable walking without it. And then after work, I did have a bit of a wobble and thought, I do wish I'd kept it in my bag, but I didn't, and I just walked home. You know, I didn't really have a choice at that point, although I was quite anxious. I'm glad I did. And then from that point, I just stopped wearing my wig, really. And that's pretty much how I am now. I mean, when I go out now, and this is one of the other tips that I would recommend, you know, if you're at the point whereby you're trying to wear your wigs less or go out in public without, then I would definitely try this. It's basically having a backup in your bag. So I stopped, so initially I would always take my wig in my bag with me. Not always, but on times when I was going to like shops or somewhere other than my walk to and from work that I was very comfortable with, I knew the route and I've done it lots of times without my wig. But if I was going to a new place or like a coffee with a friend, I'd quite often just have it in my bag, so that if I did start to feel a little bit anxious or uncomfortable in the situation or had a little bit of a wobble, all I'd have to do is pop into the loo, put it on, and I was covered up again. And I know that some people may look and think, what? I'm sure she didn't just have any hair, now she does. But I would rather that than sometimes people see my head without hair. It's quite hard to describe. You do just feel very exposed and quite self-conscious sometimes, and that's fine, especially if you're having a bad day or a bad week. You know, all of these things can contribute and make you feel that you're taking 10 steps backwards, but that's absolutely fine, because even getting to the point of going without your wig at any time out of the house, if that's one of your goals, then that's amazing, because it took me over a year before I was ready to take that first steps. And I know for some people they never do it, and I am still shocked that it only took me that long to be able to do. But I think for me, the discomfort of the wigs, I was like, nope, I need to do this for me. I need to be comfortable, especially because it was summer. It was just the right time for me. But even if it's not your goal, you know, there's no saying you have to go out without your wig. It's just if you are looking to, then I definitely recommend taking it in very small steps and don't push yourself. If you're not feeling comfortable, then take a cover. You know, it is your own journey and it's what you are comfortable with. So don't feel like you see other people online happy going out without the wigs or keeping them on. It's completely up to you. It's whatever you are comfortable with. So I do have a couple of other tips that I would recommend trying if you're not quite ready to do it in the daytime, because the daytime going out in public without your wig, I've already said it, but it literally can be terrifying. I have had a couple of comments before in the past, mainly from younger children that don't quite understand, and even though I know they're young and they don't quite understand, it can be really hurtful. And what generally I find that once I do get a comment like that, I tend to go backwards in my confidence, and it takes me a few weeks or even months to get comfortable enough to go out without it again. I mentioned already, but my preferred method now is just a beanie hat. Even when it's sunny out, I just stick a hat on. It is so comfortable. Yeah, I just wear a hat basically. I do get weird looks, but sometimes I'd rather get a weird look for wearing a hat than a weird look for being bald, because I'm just terrified of getting a comment basically. Most of the time I'm fine, but I do still have my bad days. So yeah, something else that I would recommend is trying this at nighttime or in an evening. You know, especially if you live close to a park, or you don't even need to, just going out at night. Generally it's a little bit quieter and everything's a little bit calmer at nighttime. And for me, I find that going out in the evening, it's very peaceful and it's good for the soul. Like walking around, like just taking an evening walk, it is really relaxing. So if you were wanting to start going out without your wig, but you weren't comfortable in the day, then, you know, find a friend or a partner to come with you for an evening, keep yourself safe, but go out for walks in the evening. So what you can do is, for example, wear your wig out the house. You can either follow the same steps I did, whereby you just go to the end of your road and back without it, and then each time go a little bit further. Or if there's somewhere you particularly like, say a pond or the beach or your favourite bench, take a walk there, sit down, and then, you know, if you need to, have a look around, make sure no one's looking, or even if they are, whip it off and just sit there for a few minutes without your wig and just feel, you know, the breeze on your head. It does feel amazing. The first time that you go out without your wig, it feels so freeing and like light, and it is a really nice feeling actually. So yeah, you can always go over an evening when it's a little bit quieter, there's fewer people around, and because it's darker as well, you know, people might not necessarily look or even see. People are, you know, if people are out at nighttime jogging, walking dogs, they're not really like looking at other people or people watching and stuff. So just kind of minding their own business. So yeah, I'd recommend finding a friend to go with you, taking a walk of an evening, and as well, don't forget that if you're not feeling comfortable doing so, that's absolutely fine. If you go out and think, I don't want to take my wig off today, that's absolutely fine. You know, you've made that first step, that first conscious decision. If you're wanting to start going out without it, you've already made that step. You've already gone out the house with the intention of doing so. And even that's going to help you just get familiar with the idea of it, because it is so daunting. So I've already mentioned this, but another tip that I would recommend is going with a friend. So I find that when I'm walking around with somebody, particularly when I like go shopping or something, I'm generally with my partner or a friend. So I'm already distracted, you know, just by talking to them. It takes away from the fact that you're looking around at other people, you know, are they looking? Are they saying anything? Do I look odd? You know, it takes that away, it takes that aspect away because you're with somebody and you're chatting. So I'd definitely recommend going with a friend. And yeah, if you need to, just take a cover up with you that you can just put on and make sure that you're feeling comfortable. So those are all the tips I have basically for building up a little bit of confidence to going out the house without your wig. Thank you for watching.